Tim McGraw has long been regarded as one of the biggest icons in country music, respected not only for his voice, but also for the picture postcard depiction of his family that he and Faith Hill produced. For a long time, fans have pondered what life was like in that iconic house. Now, one of McGraw's daughters has finally spoken up after years of silence. We won't give everything away just yet, but what she says has the power to permanently alter how people perceive the man. Early life and career of Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw was born Samuel Timothy McGraw in Delhi, Louisiana, and his narrative begins there. His father was Tug McGraw, a young baseball pitcher who would go on to become a great player with the New York Mets and Philadelphia Phillies, and his mother, Elizabeth Betty and D'Agostino, was a waitress from Florida. However, life was not simple. When Betty became pregnant, she was just a teenager, and her parents sent her to live with relatives in Louisiana. Tim was raised believing that his stepfather was his biological father for many years. When he was 11 years old, everything changed. He discovered his birth certificate, and discovered that Tug McGraw was in fact his father when searching through his mother's wardrobe for a school report. At first, Tug denied it. It wasn't until Tim became 18 that he formally claimed him. However, the two remained close until Tug's death in 2004. After that, Tim was interested in sports even before he realized his father was a baseball great. He participated in competitive baseball in college, and was even awarded a scholarship to Northeast Louisiana University. He had planned to study law, but his athletic dreams were cut short by a knee injury. However, that blow created another chance. Tim started playing the guitar and performing while he was a college student. At first he wasn't too fantastic, so his roommates teased him and even put the guitar away. But Tim didn't give up. He kept singing and practicing, slowly finding his voice. He attended Florida Community College for a short time, before deciding to make music his full-time career. Tim got the jolt he needed in 1989 when his hero, Keith Whitley, passed away. After dropping out of school, he headed directly to Nashville. Not long afterward, he got a break. After Curb Records heard one of his demo tapes, he signed with the label in 1990. Neither his 1991 debut single, nor his 1993 debut album made much of an impression. Tim, however, was not deterred. When he released his second album, Not a Moment Too Soon, in 1994, everything changed. Hits like Don't Take the Girl and Indian Outlaw helped it become the year's best-selling country album. The hits simply continued coming in after that. His 1995 third album, All I Want, produced songs including I Like It, I Love It. Tim met his future wife, Faith Hill, while he was doing headline tours in 1996. They rose to prominence as the leading power couple in country music, with hits like Everywhere, 1997, and A Place in the Sun, 1998. Tim McGraw transformed from a small-town kid with a dashed baseball ambition into one of the most successful country musicians of his era by the late 1990s. How Tim McGraw helps people by using his popularity. Tim McGraw didn't fully focus on music and success when he first started to gain popularity in 1994. He also came up with strategies to help others. In the same year, he founded his hometown Swampstock event. What began as a simple charity softball tournament to raise funds for local minor league teams has evolved into much more. Over 11,000 people attend Swampstock every year, which includes a celebrity softball game and a huge multi-art performance. New little league parks, equipment purchases, and even the creation of college scholarship programs for kids in Northeast Louisiana have all been made possible by the money generated. From 1996 to 1999, McGraw also presented a series of New Year's Eve concerts in Nashville. He drew celebrities like Martina McBride, the Dixie Chicks, and Jeff Foxworthy. Over $100,000 was raised for the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum by the single 1997 tour. He also added a new twist to his travels by 1999. What became known as the Bread and Water Tour was started by him. The idea was simple. He would simply turn up at a local club the night before a big concert and perform unexpectedly. Each town's local charities received all of the money raised by such activities. The generosity of McGraw didn't stop there. He designed a charity shirt for Angel Wear, and the money raised will go to Music Cares, a group that helps musicians in need, especially those dealing with health issues. Additionally, he founded the Tim McGraw Foundation, which aims to improve the lives of people and children who have brain tumors. Additionally, he has been a steadfast advocate for the David Foster Foundation, which supports families of children in need of organ transplants, the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center, and Artists on Call, which provides live music performances for hospital patients. Alongside Faith Hill, McGraw has made significant donations as well. Following the USS Cole assault in 2000, they gave $375,000, the entire proceeds from one of their performances, to support the families of the 17 sailors who lost their lives. McGraw, a Mississippi native, personally accompanied parties bringing supplies into Gulfport during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Additionally, Johnny and Faith gave charity concerts to disaster victims. They established the Neighbors Keeper Foundation in the later half of that year and donate to neighborhood organizations that provide basic humanitarian aid, especially during natural disasters. Using his position to further their efforts, McGraw has also served as a member of the American Red Cross National Celebrity Cabinet. Additionally, he has worked with Brett Favor's Forward Foundation, performing at fundraisers for the challenged kids in Mississippi and Wisconsin. He had a particularly poignant interaction in 2007 when performing live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, only a few days after Officer Robert Kosminski was shot and killed while performing his duties. Kai, the officer's 3-year-old daughter, received $5,000 from McGraw. Kindness hasn't stopped him either, even in recent years. When budding country musician Brandon Davis's complete equipment was stolen in April 2023, McGraw surprised him with a brand new guitar. This modest gesture showed that his generosity is still very much alive and well. The political side of Tim McGraw. Even though Tim McGraw is well known as a country music singer, several people are unaware of his former political openness. McGraw made a shocking revelation in an interview with Esquire magazine in 2006. "I can definitely see myself running for office someday," he remarked. He mentioned running for governor of his home state of Tennessee, or even for the U.S. Senate as a Democrat. He also praised former President Bill Clinton in the same interview, making it clear where his political leanings were. In 2008, 2 years later, McGraw offered yet another perspective on his political views. He described himself as a blue dog Democrat in an interview with People magazine. Democrats who lean more conservative or moderate than the majority of the party are usually referred to by that term. According to McGrath, he and his family supported then-candidate Barack Obama for president. The interest in McGraw has always been there, even though he never officially entered politics. He often expressed his desire to change the world, whether it be by philanthropy, music, or perhaps even public office. Rumors about whether he would ever cross the line into politics have only been fueled by his image as a modest family man who cares about local issues. In January 2021, McGraw made a comeback to the political spotlight, albeit in a very different role. He took part in the inaugural Celebrating America special, a countrywide virtual concert broadcast in the evening to commemorate President Joe Biden's inauguration. The program, which featured some of the biggest names in entertainment, was intended to promote harmony and hope for the future. For McGraw, it wasn't about making big claims or speeches. It was about using his music to bring people together during a historical period. He has never actually run for office, but his public remarks, interviews, and performances show that he isn't afraid to voice his thoughts and back candidates he believes should be elected. McGraw's voice in music and public life still has sway, even if he never runs for office. His private life and fascinating details. Outside of the stage, Tim McGraw's life has been just as colorful as his recording career. He married fellow country music legend Faith Hill in 1996, and together they have built one of the most prestigious families in the business. Fans take great pride in citing McGraw and Hill's 3 daughters as proof that genuine love can withstand the pressures of celebrity. Naturally, there have been some wild hairs in life. In 2000, McGraw and fellow country music musician Kenny Chesson found themselves in an odd situation in Buffalo, New York. As a joke, Chesson had mounted a police horse. However, a short altercation broke out when authorities ordered him to dismount after assuming he was trying to take it. The 2 males were arrested after McGraw stepped in to defend his friend during the altercation. McGraw for assault and Chesson for unruly behavior. Although the case garnered media attention, the 2 men were ultimately found not guilty in 2001. McGraw has several hobbies and accomplishments outside of music. He owns a Cirrus SR-22, a contemporary single-engine aircraft, and is a certified private pilot. Forbes also listed him as one of the highest-paid country performers in 2015, estimating that he made $38 million. McGraw also has some interesting links in Hollywood. The 2 have become great friends after co-starring in Friday Night Lights and Country Strong together. McGraw and actress Emma Roberts were so close that McGraw was chosen to be the godfather of Headland's son. His background also includes heritage. McGraw has always boasted of his Italian ancestry because his grandfather was Italian. At its 29th anniversary gala in 2004, the National Italian American Foundation, or NIOF, presented him with a Special Accomplishment Award in music. And McGraw's happiness extends beyond acting and music. He loves dogs as well. The McGraw-Hill family is home to 3 Bracco Italos, a highly uncommon Italian hunting breed. Lepshy, who won Best of Breed, was the highlight of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in 2023. At home, Caesar and Stromboli, the other 2 pups, are equally loved. McGraw's private life, which includes both domestic life and unexpected adventures, shows the variety of this country music icon. The backlash of Indian Outlaws. Indian Outlaw, January 1994, one of Tim McGraw's first big hits, was contentious from the beginning. The lyrics mention wigwams, tom-tom drums, peace pipes, and a chorus from an Indian reserve. The song is played from the perspective of a cunning Native American outlaw. Several Native American organizations and activists began criticizing it shortly after it peaked at the top of the charts. They said the song was based on caricatures of indigenous cultures and relied too much on preconceptions. For example, following complaints, 2 Minneapolis country radio stations stopped playing the song. The American Indian Movement's media and the Minneapolis-based National Coalition Against Racism in Sports denounced it as cheesy Hollywood music, comparing it to the cliched portrayals and tomahawk chop shouts used for sports mascots. Among the loudest, Wilma Maniller was the song's opponent, Cherokee Nation's principal chief during the time. In a letter to radio stations, she begged them not to play the song, calling parts of it offensive and saying it encourages intolerance. McGraw shot back, saying he didn't mean it as an insult, but rather as light entertainment. It's interesting to see that even within Native populations, responses varied. While some expressed disapproval of the song, others said they like it or did not find it offensive. McGraw added that Gerard Parker, the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians deputy chief, had written him a letter of support. The movie Indian Outlaw was a big hit in spite of the criticism. After peaking at number 8 and even making a crossover to the pop charts, it was McGraw's first number 10 country single. Since then, McGraw has included it in his performances, though it remains a controversial part of his past. Curb Records versus McGraw. Tim McGraw and his long-standing record label, Curb Records, were at odds by the late 2000s and early 2000s. The issue was that the firm was holding onto his album Emotional Traffic and releasing tracks either slowly or hastily. According to public accounts, the Emotional Traffic album was completed by the end of 2010, but Curb prevented its publication. McGraw publicly expressed his annoyance, saying that the label had it and that all the songs had been done for a long time. They are attempting to preserve it for as long as possible. Curb Records then filed a breach of contract lawsuit against McGraw in May 2011. He was accused by the label of breaking their agreement by tracking part of the Emotional Traffic too much ahead of time, technically before the label's contractual due date. McGraw made a counterargument. He sought damages, a reimbursement for recording costs, and upfront payments. During the case, he also asked for permission to record for a different label. A judge gave McGraw a partial victory in November 2011. While the lawsuit was pending, he was permitted to sign with another label. The fact that he wasn't totally confined while the lawsuit was pending was a significant turning point. But according to his original agreement, Curb maintained that McGraw still owed them some recordings. Citing irreparable harm to themselves, they sought an injunction to prevent him from recording anywhere else. On that point, the courts disagreed with Curb. Curb was denied the injunction by the trial court, which decided that McGraw's recording career was not being unjustly harmed by his recording elsewhere while the issue was underway. Appeals courts subsequently upheld the majority of that decision. In 2012, Curb was unable to stop McGraw from creating new music, but they may still pursue civil claims or damages. Emotional Traffic was marketed as McGraw's final album with Curb Records when it was eventually released on January 24, 2012. When artwork timing and contractual commitments collide, industry analysts typically point to this problem as the classic illustration of the struggle between artist control and label prerogatives. When a benefit performance sparked a discussion about gun regulation, Tim McGraw agreed to play at a Sandy Hook Promise benefit event in 2015. Sandy Hook Promise is a nonprofit organization that was founded in the wake of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012. 6 adults and 20 first graders were slain in that mass shooting in Newtown, Connecticut. McGraw's goal was clear: to support initiatives that promote mental health, community healing, and the prevention of gun violence. However, his action caused controversy. He came under fire from opponents and supporters of gun rights for exploiting the event to further a covert agenda. They implied that he was abandoning his duty as a gun owner, and that it looked like a gun control fundraiser. On social media, the outcry became louder. Critics accused him of breaching the Second Amendment and called him a hypocrite. After the criticism grew, even one of the supporting performers, Billy Currington, canceled, saying he didn't want to become involved in a political dispute. The silence was not unchallenged by McGraw. He made it clear in interviews with the Washington Post and other outlets that while he supports gun ownership, he believes that it should be paired with safety, education, and responsibility, especially when children are involved. He said personal relationships served as the inspiration for the concert. One of the impacted parents was friends with Dean Brown, a fiddler who was one of his players. McGraw stressed that the purpose of the performance was to help people recover, not to make a statement. The dispute serves as an example of how even the most admirable actions can turn into fodder in America's still burning gun-related arguments. McGraw's critics said he went too far. His admirers saw a man trying to use his position to his advantage. In any case, his choices gave his public character a richer chapter, and that concert became one of those occasions where sorrow, politics, and music came together. Remarks about gun control laws. Tim McGraw, a country music singer, has been a vocal advocate for sensible gun control laws, a stance that has generated discussion among his followers and the public at large. Some common sense that's necessary when it comes to gun control, McGraw stated in a 2017 Billboard interview, highlighting the need for practical laws. In a 2023 Whiskey Rift interview, McGraw went into further detail about his views, saying, "They want to make it about the Second Amendment every time it's brought up. It's not about the Second Amendment." He added that his stance is an appeal for responsible gun ownership, rather than an attack on the Second Amendment. Although McGraw's comments demonstrate a call for fair gun laws, they have been controversial. Some of his supporters and critics view his endorsement as an assault on conservative interpretations of the Second Amendment. He acknowledged his advocacy as a bird hunter, but reaffirmed that the public should be protected by enacting sensible policies. The Greatest Hits 3 controversy. In October 2008, country music superstar Tim McGraw clashed with his longtime label, Curb Records, over the publication of Greatest Hits, demonstrating the depth of disagreement when discussing gun regulation in terms of American values and rights. McGraw, who had been working on new material for over a year and had even performed 3 new songs on his Live Your Voice tour, publicly expressed his disappointment and frustration at the release of the compilation disc that included some of his previously released songs, as well as a few new ones without his involvement or consent. But instead of supporting his new material, Curb Records released the Greatest Hits compilation, which McGraw interpreted as an attempt to extend his contract. "I am saddened and disappointed that my label chose to put out another hits album instead of new music," McGraw said in a statement to his fans. Since only 2 years had passed since the last compilation, Greatest Hits, Limited Edition, and only one studio album, Let It Go, had been released. The release of Greatest Hits 3 was particularly contentious. Many believed that the label was attempting to fulfill contractual obligations, rather than fostering McGraw's artistic career, because of the close grouping of Greatest Hits albums. The conflict between McGraw's wish to release new music and Curb Records' commercial interests was brought to light when McGraw filed a countersuit against the label, claiming that it was extending his contract term by withholding his finished album, Emotional Traffic. A new chapter in McGraw's career began in 2012 when he was released from his contract with Curb Records and signed with Big Machine Records, following the release of Greatest Hits 3 and the ensuing legal disputes. Live show incidents and concert behavior. Tim McGraw was criticized in October 2021 at a concert in Reno, Nevada, after he lost his place in his song, Where the Green Grass Grows. The crowd started jeering him as he tried to get back on course, which made things awkward. McGraw retaliated by confronting the hecklers from the stage, which infuriated some fans who thought he was being unprofessional and others who appreciated his candor. This incident sparked a wider conversation about the pressures artists face when they perform live. The error was an anomaly for McGraw, who has a smooth stage presence, but it did highlight the challenges that entertainers face. including the need to win over fans and the unpredictability of a live performance. Aside from this event, McGraw's performances have occasionally drawn criticism. Fans have voiced complaints about specific aspects of the performance, including sound and ticket prices. One reviewer criticized the sound balance, saying that McGraw's vocals were overpowered by the band's volume, detracting from the experience. Others have complained about ticket prices that are too high, believing that the prices are too high for the quality of the performance. Gracie, Maggie, and Audrey are the three daughters of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Although their parents were well known, the McGraw girls have led relatively quiet lives, often avoiding the limelight. They were raised in Nashville, Tennessee, with a modest and family-oriented upbringing, with Tim and Faith keeping their children's lives private and normal. Gracie was born in 1997. After graduating from New York University with a degree in acting and singing, she publicly came out as gay in June 2025, telling her admirers about her identity during Pride Month. Her parents have supported her throughout her journey, although they have not publicly commented. Audrey, the youngest and 23 years old, is continuing her parents' musical legacy, releasing a few singles, including a cover of Neil Diamond's I Am I Said, and touring the world with Brandi Carlile in 2025. Maggie, born in 1998, chose a different path, earning a master's degree from Stanford University, and now working for Earth League International, an organization dedicated to combating environmental crime. In June 2025, Gracie McGraw, the oldest daughter of country music icons Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, publicly reaffirmed her identity as a queer bisexual woman. Tim and Faith have been extremely proud of her. The McGraw daughters have occasionally made public appearances, often with their parents, at events like the Time 100 Gala and the Music City Rodeo. In May 2025, they performed Last Dollar Flyaway with Tim at the Music City Rodeo in Nashville. She wrote, "Happy freaking Pride," in a jubilant message on her Instagram story on June 2. She said, "Let me be very clear here. The following day, along with a graphic reading, everyone get more gay now. I love being queer. I would not have it any other way as an out and proud queer bisexual woman." In her clarification, Gracie thanked the tabloids for the publicity surrounding Pride Month, but firmly asserted that she has been out and about her identity and support for LGBTQIA+ causes all along. Gracie's decision to publicly discuss her sexuality followed media misrepresentations of her first post as a new coming-out statement, which some outlets incorrectly indicated as such. Both Tim McGraw and Faith Hill have a history of standing up for the LGBTQIA+ community, despite the fact that neither has publicly addressed Gracie's comments. Tim McGraw has supported anti-bullying campaigns and has toured with LGBTQIA+ artists, while Faith Hill publicly defended country singer Chell Wright after Wright came out in 2010. Tim McGraw's life and career demonstrate that he is much more than just a country music star, and Gracie's message also highlights individual pride, as well as increased awareness and solidarity with the LGBTQIA+ community. Her openness serves as a reminder to everyone of the importance of visibility and recognition of individuals within the LGBTQIA+ community. McGraw has always been tenacious and resilient, from his early years in Louisiana, when he found out who his real father was, to his pursuit of music following a baseball injury. His ascent to fame was not immediate. His debut album didn't generate much buzz, but he persisted, putting out hit after hit, and establishing a career that spanned decades, and earned him recognition all over the world. McGraw's offstage life has been equally eventful, as he and Faith Hill have raised 3 daughters while managing a high-profile career, and they have handled challenges in the public eye with grace. Songs like Don't Take the Girl, It's Your Love, and Live Like You Were Dying helped define modern country music, and his collaborations with Faith Hill added a unique dimension to his work. From Swampstock to the Neighbors Keeper Foundation, McGraw has used his fame to support causes ranging from disaster relief to children with medical needs, consistently demonstrating his dedication to giving back. However, McGraw has also been controversial. He has pursued personal passions like flying, and even considered a career in politics, demonstrating that his interests and ambitions go far beyond music. He has taken criticism head-on, whether it comes from disagreements with his record label, criticism of his songs, or political and social views. Even live performance mishaps and expensive ticket prices have been scrutinized by fans and the media. In spite of all of this, he has remained close to his fans and has continued to grow as a performer. All things considered, Tim McGraw's story is one of perseverance, talent, and heart. He has overcome social, professional, and personal obstacles to achieve extraordinary success, while staying true to his family, his music, and his beliefs. His journey demonstrates that fame has both rewards and responsibilities, which McGraw has accepted, making him one of the most enduring figures in country music. That concludes our in-depth examination of Tim McGraw's amazing journey, which includes his early hardships, ascent to fame, family life, charitable endeavors, and even controversies along the way. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to ensure you don't miss any more updates. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Please share your favorite Tim McGraw moment or song in the comments section below.